Hey, my name is Seth Juarez. I'm a technical evangelist from DevExpress, and I'm here with Oren Eini, aka Ayende Rahien. Is it Eini or Eini or
Eini?
Eini. So here's a question everyone's dying to know: where the heck did Ayende come from?
Okay, so in 2004, I wanted to open a blog. At the time, I was in prison.
Wait.
Okay, I spent 2001 to 2005 in prison.
Was there like a bar brawl or something? Let's hear about this.
I didn't do anything. Okay, it went like this. I was a good little boy, and they sent me to prison. 4 years afterward, they managed to get out. Okay, I just love telling the story because of the reactions like that. I especially like telling this story in job interviews. And so, okay, so I'm sending a resume, and there is a gap in 2000. What did you do before 2005? Oh, I was in prison for 4 years. Okay. Okay, so what actually happened is that 2001 to 2005, I served in the army.
Okay.
My job in the army was, it started as a prison guard, then I was a prison XO, and my last role in the army was prisoner commander.
I was gonna make like a "don't drop the soap" joke, but now it doesn't even work, man.
Let's not go there.
All right.
Okay. So anyway, I was in the army, and the problem with the army is that they have a lot of rules, and most of the rules are absolutely logical if the people who you're dealing with are mindless zombies.
Oh.
Such as, if the room is on fire, you are not allowed to go in the room.
Oh, so they had to write that down for you?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, and a bunch of other crap like that. Okay, so one of the rules that makes absolute sense is that you're not allowed to divulge any sensitive information that you have.
So there was a rule to not divulge sensitive information.
Like, the secret base is at GPS location ABC.
Did you just break the rule because?
Yes, because ABC is a GPS location.
That's right. I mean,
Okay.
for those of us that are idiots about GPS, right?
Yes. So there's a whole bunch of rules about secrecy and what is classified information. And apparently, in 2004, there was a pretty famous case, at least it appeared in all the national papers, where they court-martialed a guy for publishing in his blog a very sensitive piece of information. He wrote a bad review on a Friend episode.
So he wrote a bad review on a Friend episode, and he got court-martialed.
For violating the Secrecy Act or something like that.
Because Friends is seriously like,
yes,
I mean,
top
secret base
secret
and
military
Friends.
information.
Got it.
Now, here's the deal. I know the guy who was asked to give the expert opinion in this case. He told them this is nonsense. I mean, but apparently the direct commander for this guy thought that it's not okay that he had, personal life or something like that.
Interesting.
They literally court-martialed the guy and found him guilty. They gave him slap on the wrist, but still.
Right.
So here I am trying to, and I really wanted to be able to write a blog because, that was all the rage over there. And I was sitting there and thinking, I can write my own blog, and if someone in the army found about it, and okay, I'm working for the prison, I'm dealing with, prisoners, my secret information relates to prisoners and prisons and movements and stuff like that. I want to write about design patterns in C#.
Which is a mystery to some and a secret to some also.
Yeah, so what is the chance that A, my direct commanders would have no idea what I'm talking about, B, decide this is secret information, C, decide to do something about that.
Right.
Okay, so I decided that, I don't really care to take the trouble. I will just call myself Ayende.
Where does Ayende come from?
That is from a series of books called The Wheel of Time. I loved, still love that set of books. Yeah, there's a Woody behind us that goes like this because this is awesome. I literally read the four set of 7 books throughout high school, like in endless loop. Okay, so
and hence Ayende is born.
yes. Now it went like that for 2 years, and then I got off the army. I'm like, okay, guys, now I can stop doing this stupid shit about the fake name. My name is Oren. Do you know what the response was?
Who's that?
Yeah, bzz, go away. This is Ayende. And it actually got to the point where I have a book that I wrote, and I go to the publisher and say, okay, there is a mistake in the title. I want Oren to appear on the cover. And it says, okay, no problem. Just have Oren sign the co-authorship agreement. I'm like,
you mean like my other?
yes. And like, Ayende does not exist.
That's awesome.
And it says, okay, we'll change it. And then it says, okay, wait, we can't change that. Marketing says that no one knows who Oren is. So Ayende is on the cover. And I'm not on the cover.
So his own book, man, authored by his alter ego while he was in prison. They have to have found out, right, that it was you writing it later on, but they didn't care, right?
No, literally, they knew who. Eventually, we sorted it out. I mean, that was a mistake about that. But the publisher literally told me, we can't put your name on the book. No one knows who you are. So Ayende is on the book because that is a name that people recognize.
That's so funny. So, did you get in trouble with the army afterwards, or they were like, just no?
No.
It was just like, oh, who cares?
Yeah, no, I don't think that they actually knows.
They still don't know.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, the people who I worked with and their relation to technical blogs in .NET, not really.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well, cool, man. Well, we are in Dallas. What are you doing here?
I have no idea. I'm so tired.
How long is your flight from Israel to over here?
Door to door, 24 hours.
Because you were just at the MVP summit, not this very week, right?
Yes.
And so you got to the MVP summit when?
Sunday, Monday.
Sunday.
Like that.
And so now we're at Saturday, and he's here at the DallasDev.net. Anything you're doing next week?
I'm giving a 3-day course.
There you go. So tell me, how many sessions did you get to present at the DallasDev.net? Count it, 7. That's like almost 3 conference worths of talks, right? Can you give us a snippet of some of the stuff you talked about?
.NoSQL thing, RavenDB.
He's already lost. He's gone. I know there's
second level caching.
There you go, second level caching.
No, I didn't talk about Hibernate. I talked about second level caching in Hibernate.
Oh, second level caching in Harmony.
I talked about Rhino Service Bus.
Rhino Service Bus.
I talked about building DSLs.
DSLs in Boo.
Yes.
That's cool. You should write a book on that. No, I mean, Allende should. I don't know who the heck you are.
I spoke about another thing.
2 more, man. You're missing 2.
Yeah. This morning, the first talk of this morning, I know to talk about something interesting.
Everyone's dying to know. I mean, it's just so interesting.
I have absolutely no idea. I mean, seriously, I have absolutely no idea. The missing 2 talk. I can tell you what talks they were. They were the last talk of yesterday and the first talk of this day.
That's all. If you go on Google and DallasDev or Bing, whatever is your preference, at DallasDev.net, you'll see literally Oren was doing every other talk.
Yeah, which led to the condition which I am now, which is.
But notice how lively he is, even at the.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was awake. So tell us, are you working on anything cool right now?
I'm working for myself, so pretty much everything I'm working on is cool. New stuff. RavenDB is really, really cool.
Okay.
We're working on a couple of offshoots of that.
Oh yeah, like what?
Yeah. One of them is RavenDB for Silverlight.
Okay.
So we have a Silverlight library that you can use it to talk to a RavenDB server.
But that's over the wire, right?
That is over the wire,
Okay.
yes. But something that people have asked is, okay, I want to run RavenDB inside my Silverlight application.
Wait, on the client side?
On the browser, yes.
That's quite an undertaking.
We've done most of the heavy lifting for that. And I think that in the next few months, we're probably going to have something that will ship for basically a document database, full link support, full unit of work, all of these things that ships for both the Windows Phone 7 and for Silverlight.
Holy cow, so you're telling me that in the browser, you'll be able to save stuff on the client side for an in-browser and out-of-browser experience for Silverlight?
Yes. And then you can do an offline sync. So the basic idea is that you have your embedded RavenDB Silverlight instance that runs in the browser or out of browser, and you can work with that offline. And there is also a remote RavenDB instance, a full RavenDB instance.
That's
and
amazing.
You can sync between the two automatically.
Now, are you going to manage the syncing yourself?
Yeah,
or?
no, that's myself.
Okay, let's see if I'm understanding. You're telling me that you can now have this sort of fully rich interactive experience in browser, out of browser with Silverlight, manage the state internally, and it's kind of like offline mode, but online, and you can sort of push stuff back and forth whenever you want.
So so one of the options would be everything that you save locally will automatically replicate to the remote server. If you're running in offline mode, it will just wait until you come back online and then replicate everything there.
I just got excited. I think I'm going to pinch his butt. That's cool stuff.
I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't like that. Maybe you need to buy me another drink.
He might. We might need to get him another drink for that. Woody, can you take care of that? There you go.
That's the second.
So I heard you on this Developers Live talking about when you work on stuff, you only want to work on stuff that makes you happy. Tell us about that.
I work on stuff that didn't make me happy. In 2007, I had a project that I was the team lead, but I was overruled on a lot of the important technical decisions.
Oh, that never happens anywhere else, though. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but let me just complete that. So I wanted to use monorail, and they forced us to use web forms. And there was a bunch of other stuff like that. But for the most part, I had those constraints, but for the most part, we were able to build our own stack the way I actually thought that it made sense. That is where Rhino Igloo came from.
Okay.
Just specifically for this project. And the fun stuff is that this project is, to this day, the best project that I've ever done.
Interesting.
Just to give you an idea, going to production was a process that took us 37 seconds. That includes updating the code, updating the website, updating databases, all of these sort of things. Updating ETL processes, everything was automated, running. It was very, very easy to work.
Was this the project you didn't like, or?
No, that was a project that I really loved.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Then, you know what the punishment of doing a good job?
What's that?
Getting a harder job.
Oh,
So they moved me from the development division to the business integration division, which meant that I had to work with the Microsoft CRM system. The story ends with me saying, I'm not going to do another project like that, I'm quitting. Okay, so if any of you ever use Microsoft CRM and it's painful, just follow me, just quit. It's not worth the pain. Now, just to give you some idea about how painful that was, remember that I said that the previous project, it was 37 seconds to production? We literally went to production 3 times a day at a certain point. Like, that was when I started thinking about it's, how people tell you that you should do continuous integration?
Yeah.
I do continuous deployment. Every single commit to source control goes live to people, to production.
Wow.
Okay, so that was that project. And that was, I'm using this method with the profilers, I'm using this method with RavenDB. Every single commit is a production deployment.
Interesting.
Now, this is not a theory. Because you have people says, okay, every commit or every sprint, we have something that is ready to be deployed. But they don't deploy that. My way, I'm actually deploying that to production. Okay?
That's like the Facebook way of doing it. You get stuff right now, or Twitter right now, I like that.
Yeah, you know what the reason for that?
Why?
I could not be bothered to actually handle the release management system. Just too complicated. Just release everything. It's almost simple.
So screw the release process. Let's just commit and have it do it, right?
No, we have a release process that runs automatically, but the problem when you have a release process that you do every month, every 3 months, it's always manual. It's always there are some steps that you don't have. But doing that, I'm literally exercising my release process every single commit. If you go and look on builds.hibernatingrhinos.com, you can see that there are some days that there are, for the profiler, like 6 different releases in the same day. Just because I'm working on that, okay, that's good enough to make a commit. Go, done.
So is it stable to do it that way? I mean, you might put in a bug or something?
Okay, I might put in a bug.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't mean you because obviously you're Ayende. You don't put bugs.
I put bugs into the production stuff.
Is it just to help us mere mortals sort of feel like we know what we're doing?
No, it's just that sometimes you just overlook a condition or stuff like that. But the fun part with that is that consider consider the typical Microsoft release cycle. It's 18 months. Okay.
Indeed, it is.
Now let's say that I found a bug in a release product. Not that it ever happens.
No, not in Microsoft.
I found a bug. What is the chance that it will get fixed? Well, if this is a critical security bug, maybe it will get fixed. I mean, there was a security bug with ASP authentication, encryption, something.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and that took like a month to fix.
That's right. I remember getting that email from the GU himself saying, you need to turn X off because of Y, right?
Yeah. So that is a critical security bug. For a non-critical security bug that if you don't fix it, you get sued, the response time is, we cannot put it on the next cycle because we already budget everything that we are going to do that. So we're going to do that in 2 years or 3 years. You may get that bug fixed.
Now, we're seeing that kind of change with the MVC process. We're getting releases with MVC all the time.
Yes, so I'm talking specifically about Visual Studio, .NET Framework, stuff like that. There are things with that are doing much more rapid much more rapid releases. But the problem with doing an 18-month cycle of releases is that you really want to have very good control about what you're pushing out. Because the next time that you have to fix something is in 3 years.
Oh, so
if you have an ability to push a new version out 6 times a day, then the cost of actually making a change is very, very low.
So my little paralysis of process is really inhibiting me from actually releasing good code faster, right? Is what you're saying. Because if you release a bug, but it's going to get fixed the very next commit.
And here's an interesting aspect of that. If someone finds a bug in a product and they email me about that and I fix it and commit, then I commit that and then go to email and says, okay, the next build will be out in 5 minutes. This bug is fixed.
That's customer service, man.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, and that creates a very good feeling for the end customer. Look at this turnaround.
Very interesting.
Okay, so that is a hugely important aspect of actually being able to be responsive, to actually push stuff out and see them happening.
And so you're saying the fear of putting out something that maybe has a little bug really is overridden by the fact that you're releasing so many times.
Yeah, I mean, what is the cost of fixing that bug?
One more commit.
And you know what? I could not figure out how to fix that bug. So I roll back that release and push, roll back that commit and push again. And that bug just went away.
That's a cool way of thinking about it. I like that. Now, the other night, we were driving off to go get some dinner, and I was talking about something that was similar to the repository pattern. And you told me, because I was going to give a talk on patterns and practices.
Oh, yes.
And I
was talking about Hibernate in action. That was another one of my talks.
Okay, good.
Okay, so now we're missing only one of them. I have that. Okay, the Hibernate in action was the last one on yesterday.
Okay.
I still need to know what I did.
We'll get it in there.
First-
We have some time, man.
Yeah, first day, what I did first thing today. I know that I did something.
It was probably really good, and I probably should have gone
No,
to it.
I actually know that that was good. I had a really good feeling about that. I just don't know what it was.
So anyways, we were driving in the
Yeah.
car, man, and I was like, because you know how in NBC we have a service to do stuff. It's kind of the
No.
AKA repository. I was like,
No.
hey, I'm going to do a patterns and practice. I'm going to do this. And you're like, no, don't do that. I'm like, wait a minute. You just erased all of my MVC way of doing iRepository, everything, everywhere. Why? Tell us why you think that's just a bad way of doing things.
Okay, what is a repository?
Well, a repository, as far as I understand it, is this sort of class, right, that you inject into controllers where you get stuff.
No. What is a repository? Tell me about that without adding anything else to the mix.
So pretty much, it's a class that manages CRUD.
Okay, wait a second. I think I have an Hibernate to do that.
Interesting. So you're saying we're just adding this wrapper of nonsense around a thing that already does it.
Yes, and usually you don't just add one wrapper of nonsense. You add multiples of them.
Give me an example.
Okay, let's say user/login.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a user controller that has a login action.
Uh-huh.
Inside that you have the iUser service, which is implemented by an Hibernate user service,
Right.
which is using iRepository of user, which is implemented by user repository.
I'm starting to get the feeling that I know what you're talking
which is
about.
inheriting from an Hibernate repository of T, where the T is user. Inside that user service, there is a method called authenticate user. That method calls to repository, to user repository, and then it's called get user by name. And then the user repository calls to Hibernate to make something.
So who's on first, right? Holy cow. You just drew the object. It's like we've overkilled the simple thing of getting user
Yes.
by wrapping it around this whole bloatedness of object orientation. But because we're using an interface, it's okay, right?
No.
That's what people, that's the feeling, and that's what you're saying is just ridiculous,
It's
right?
not just not okay, it's a horrible problem that I see every single time. The main problem is that, let's take a very simple example, okay? I want to show the post and its comments.
Okay,
And on the side, I want to show some statistics about the application.
perfect.
Okay, so if I did it without anything, that is like 3 queries to the database. But with the service and repository architecture, I usually have separate services for each of them. So post services, comment services,
Right.
statistics services. Each of them uses their own repositories. Each of them uses their own implementation. Now, here's the deal. Now, there are a lot of tricks and features that you can use with Hibernate, with any Oren, but specifically I know Hibernate, so I know a lot of those abilities that can make it very, very easy to optimize the way that you're doing stuff. But I cannot use them if the actual, so this is where you make the call, this is where the actual stuff happens, but somewhere around here, some very, very far away, you're actually doing something that I actually need to change. So, for example, if you're returning a list of posts, now I need to change that to be a enumerable post. That is just the most trivial one. Well, I can't, because now to make this very simple change here, I have to go and modify 6 or 7 classes and interfaces
That's
and
an
stuff like
interesting,
that.
you know, every time they ask for a change, you literally have to go to the interface. Then you have to go to the implementer of the interface. Then you have to make sure it's injected properly in the controller. And you're saying that, why are we doing that when we can just put it into the controller? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Interesting.
That is something that I see all the time because, okay, now I need to make modification to the way that you're handling this action. But the stuff that actually we care about happening all over the place. And you try to give a coherent view of what this is doing. You can. So in many cases, I'm doing code reviews and doing performance optimizations. And one of the things that I'm doing very, very often is I'm sorry, I can tell you what you should do, but that would require you to make major rewrites to the way that you're handling the application.
Interesting.
Now, just to be clear, I am saying that the controller should directly call to the Hibernate session, to the Hibernate session, for reads. Okay?
Okay, for reads.
Okay. The reason for that is, what sort of business logic do we have for reads?
You just sort of select where, right? Pretty much.
Okay, and there's a bunch of other stuff that you usually do.
Yeah, like what?
The things that people quote me all the time is security, logging,
Oh, yeah, of course.
auditing, and monitoring, and other stuff. The part that no one has so far been able to tell me is, show me one of those that is not a cross-cutting concern. And if I have a cross-cutting concern, I have other options of handling that. Again, I can use AOP to do that. I can use, in MVC, I can use action filters.
That's right.
I can use a whole bunch of stuff to do that. I can use for a lot of stuff, I can just use inhabit listeners.
Interesting.
And so I want my read operations, because reads are the part of the system that is called most often, and is where you want to be able to have the most flexibility. So you want it to be concentrated near where that stuff actually happens.
I see.
Another thing that people tell me is that, okay, but I have a complex query, and now I need to modify that query. So I want to share that query between two pieces of the application.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Okay, so here's the question. When do you have a query that is shared between two different parts of the application? Can you think of one example for this?
I'm trying to make one up, but it seems like, well, why don't you just put it in the same place, right?
No. Think about, let's say that we put all of our queries in the controller actions. Can you think of a scenario where you want to make the same query in two different actions? Two different controller actions?
I think the only place that I could think of it is if you need to do a read to see if they have access to read.
That is security authentication.
Oh yeah, you already said not to think of that. See?
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Okay. There are situations where this happens, but the important thing to understand that even if the query is identical, the logical meaning of this query is different. So
I see.
let's say that we want, I don't know, I want to see a recent post for a specific blog. So in one place, I want to show that for the user, so they can see the most recent posts, the most recent comments. In another place, I want to make the same query to see if this is a duplicate comment.
Okay.
Okay. So on the surface, this looks to be the exact same query, but we actually have here two completely different requirement sets.
That's true.
So in the first query, I want to get the results and then display them on the screen. In the second query, I only care if there is a query matching, there is a comment matching my current comment. So if you try to, so because the queries are similar, people try to reuse them, but they are not the same query, and they will change at different times.
Oh, I see. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that is it for reads. The question is now, how do you handle writes? And writes, you could handle writes using the standard services model, and at that point, the service should use Enhancement directly. Just kill the repositories already. They don't provide any value whatsoever.
That's interesting. Because when I heard that on the car, I was like, heresy! My world! And I said, well, Oren, what about if you want to swap databases? And you said to me,
that's what Enhancement is for.
That's what the ORM is for. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And I thought about that for a while, and I'm thinking, that actually makes a lot of sense. It seems like we're writing code just to make a new pattern or something that's really not useful.
And so, I want to actually touch that. People try to use the repository and stuff to abstract away the database. Sometimes they tell me, I want to switch between Enhancement and Entity Framework. And the problem with doing that is that this isn't going to work. A trivial example of the major differences between Entity Framework and Hibernate Entity framework has no specific way of querying by ID. So if you want to say, give me product number 1, you literally have to make a query and use in the word clause say ID equal 1.
Yeah.
Okay? And Hibernate has a specific code path dedicated to loading an item by ID. And there are major differences between issuing a query where ID equal 1 and saying get me item where ID is 1. Okay, there are major differences regarding the whole process. Whatever you can shortcut the query if it's already there or not, stuff like that. And that is just one example out of tens that I can probably pull just off the top of my head.
That's interesting.
And there's differences like that between any ORM in the market. Not to mention that if you're trying to switch between different data stores, so from relational database to a document database, that is a completely different paradigm.
Yeah.
And you cannot really translate between the two.
So that objection of, well, what if I want to switch between ORMs, it's like, wait.
You're not going to do that.
Why would you do that in the first place, right?
It doesn't matter. Maybe you have a reason, but that reason is invalid because you're going to have to do major work anyway.
In the repository pattern.
Yeah.
Because you have to go through and fix it all there anyways. That makes sense. So the sense I'm getting is that the repository pattern is just sort of a misdirection that is unnecessary.
The repository pattern was popularized. How do you say that?
Popularized?
Yes, thank you. Popularized by 2 books, Patterns of Enterprise Applications, and the second one is the DDD book. Okay. The problem with both of those books is that they were written in 2002, 2003.
I see.
And that was before Hibernate and Hibernate really took off.
And that's before the ORM started to become really powerful.
Yes. So the definition of a repository is they are an abstraction over a data store that provide you the in-memory collection view interface.
Which is now what ORMs do.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
So you basically take something and wrap it in something that does the exact same thing. So this is wrapping for the sense of wrapping.
But we love Christmas, or wherever you get presents, you celebrate Hanukkah or Christmas.
Yes.
We like wrapping stuff, right? Just so we can unwrap it.
Yeah, you know what the problem is?
What's that?
Do you really want to maintain all of those wrapping?
Yeah, because
And what-
you guys know at Christmas time, Dad comes around with a big black bag and it's just like, all right, let's clean this up. Really, do we need to be cleaning up after ourselves in code like that with all that wrapping, I guess I should say. Now, okay, so here is a question everybody is dying to know. Why do you like rhinos so much? Show them your little rhino little. You guys have seen this before, right? This is everywhere. He has hibernating rhino.
Oh, wait a second. This is not a rhino.
What is that?
This is a penguin.
We've been fooled this whole time, apparently. Why is it? You should call them hibernating penguins.
No. Part of building my site was doing the logo for the site. And I literally downloaded a trial of Photoshop and I had 30 days to play around with it. And at the end of 30 days, I had something. And it looked nice, but there was, a lot of empty space. So I started thinking, okay, how can I fill that empty space with something? And let's put some animal in there. Okay, dragon is tried, and lion has been done, and wolf is just okay. Next.
Yes.
So eventually I thought about rhinos and said, oh, that's nice. And I put a rhino there. And a year later, I was trying to think how I should call my mocking framework. And I'm writing in the blog, how should I call my mocking framework? And suddenly look, oh wait, there is a rhino here. Let's call it just rhino mocks. And this is how it started.
That's so okay. Another thing that probably everyone's dying to know, how do you maintain this prolific blogging pace? Seriously, it's like you have like some come out every day almost, then you have like a backlog of things that are going to come out. How do you do that?
Because I do the backlog. Right now, what I'm doing, I tend to have days when I'm posting 3, 4, 5 posts at the same time, usually on a particular subject, and then you just queued and come out whenever they should.
Oh, hold on. So you're actually writing a lot of them, and you're sort of queuing them up to automatically post at a certain time.
Oh yeah, because people started complaining when I had 8 posts a day. Then they
so the software is there to throttle you.
Yes.
And you're holy cow.
Yes, because it was like, okay, I'm silent for a week and then I have something to blog about, so I start posting.
Right.
And
that makes sense. I need to do something like that.
Yeah. The main problem is that I used to write, essays like 10, 20 pages on blog posts, and people just didn't read that.
Yeah.
So I started, okay, I'm trying to capture a post in a page or two. But there are many cases where I literally cannot find enough, what's it called? I cannot condense the thought to just a page or two. So I'm splitting that into multiple posts. And then it gets into that level.
So I guess a good tip then is try to condense your thoughts into bite size. If your bite sizes, one day you're going to go on like a feeding frenzy of putting out bite sizes, but throttle those as they come out on your blog.
Yes.
What an interesting concept. Well, how do you like Dallas?
It's big. And unfortunately, I literally have been doing every other talk for the last 2 days. So the only place that I've seen so far is the medieval times. Okay.
And so with that, I think we should say thank you, Sir Eini, and thanks for watching.
And all hail the king.
Thank you for choosing DevExpress.